Hi guys, it's Steph here from the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a Books Beside My Bed video. If you're new here, I film one of these every week where I wrap up the last 7 days worth of reading, and if you're very familiar with the series, welcome back. This is officially the last Books Beside My Bed video for 2020, which is super exciting, and I just wanted to let everyone know that next week, so for the new year, I'm actually going to move the upload day by 24 hours. So I currently upload on Mondays Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm actually going to upload on Tuesdays Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's just going to be a logistic change for me. I'll still be talking about the books that I read from Sunday to Saturday in those videos. It's just going to be uploaded on a different day. So it won't make too much of a difference, I don't think, but I just thought I'd let you know that that's happening. So this is my reading week from the 20th until the 26th of December. I read a total of 10 different things this week, 1,795 pages, and my yearly reading total is up to 405 books. All right, let's talk about the books. I read a lot of Christmassy romance-themed books and novellas this week. It was the Christmas week. Admittedly, I did get burned out of them by the end of the week, so bear that in mind. The first book that I read this week was Snowbound by Cassie Cole. This is a 2020 release on Kindle Unlimited that I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. It is a Christmas romance book. It is a reverse harem story as well, so if that's not your thing, this is probably not going to be the book for you. It is the story of Paige, who is heading off to the ski slopes for the season, and she's deferred her college courses for 6 months so she can work at the snow, and she's really in a bit of a rut. She doesn't really know what she wants to do. Her family is pushing her in one direction, but she's not entirely sure that that's the direction that she wants to go in, so she's decided to take the time off and go and work as a ski patrol person on the slopes. I don't ski, so I don't know any of these terms. She was planning on going up there with her friends, however, all of them bail on her, including the last person at the very last minute, and she doesn't even find that out until she gets to the airport, which is honestly a really dodgy thing to do as a friend. And then the friend does something else within, you know, a couple of hours that really just got my blood boiling because it's not something that you should do. As it turns out, when she arrives there, Paige's accommodation has been cancelled, and so she needs to find somewhere to stay, and everything is booked out, and so she ends up being offered a room by 3 guys who overhear her story and don't want her to be sort of stranded in the middle of nowhere. Jack, Seth and Aiden are all up there for their own reasons. They're friends from school who don't always see each other except around the holiday season. They've decided this year that they're going skiing. One of them is a ski instructor, one of them is a snowboarder, and one of them doesn't even like the cold. And so they all end up bunking in together, and then it becomes a romance story. It is very steamy. It is definitely not for everyone. And towards the end of the story, Paige sort of reconciles with her friends, but to be honest, I didn't buy that part of the story, because if my friends had done what she had done, I would probably never speak to them again. So she's clearly a better person than I am. Then I read My Dad's Best Friend by Katie Robert. This is the 3rd book in her A Touch of Taboo series. It is a 2020 release, I think, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This was a Patreon early release novella that I got through being a member of Katie's Patreon group. This is the story of Blake and Jonas. It is an age gap romance. Obviously, Jonas is the friend of Blake's father, and Blake has always had this crush on him, and they had a brief moment many years ago, but it never went anywhere because Jonas basically went, no, this is not something that's happening. Flash forward many years later, and Blake is now running the company that her father used to run and that Jonas used to work for, and she needs his help, so she goes to approach him and they end up snowed in, and it is their romance. Now, this book has consensual non-consent in it. It is very steamy, although it's probably not to the same level as some of the other books in the series, which sounds really weird to say because it is incredibly sexy and there's a lot of sex scenes in it, but there was something that felt a little bit different compared to the other 2 books. Still perfectly enjoyable, just different. I also read Grumpy Santa by M.K. Connor. This was a 2020 release that I gave 3 out of 5 stars. This was a very short novella that follows Sean, who inherits his grandfather's rundown camping ground in this small town, and he has 3 months to get it back up and running, or it goes to the town. Enter Angelina, who is the town's tourism director and who doesn't want to see this camping ground being turned into a mall or something that the town really doesn't need. And so she teams up with Sean in order to restore the camping grounds and to create something new and something that will create a lot of tourism for the town. The romance in this basically happens off page. There is their initial interaction and then a 6-month time jump, and then, oh look, they're together. So it's, yeah, if you're looking for on-the-page romance, you're not necessarily going to get it in this story. It is super short, but it was entertaining enough. Then I read A Winter Wonderland by Rebecca Hunter. This was a 2019 release that I gave 3 out of 5 stars. This is a second chance Christmas romance. Again, it is also a novella, so this one I think this one was about 100 pages, so it was a little bit longer than the previous one. It is the story of Selena, who is returning to her hometown after 9 years. She's got a divorce in her recent past, and on her way home, she breaks down in the middle of a winter storm. She needs to call a tow truck, and it's the last thing that she wants to do because her ex Jace is the owner of the tow truck company. And he's the one who picks up the phone and comes out to collect her and her car. There's a lot of water under the bridge with these two, and there's a lot of angst in their past, but the attraction is still there, and they're trying to work out whether or not it's still viable and whether they can rekindle something that they had in the past, and whether the people around them, particularly Jace's family, will accept that from them, because they had to pick up the pieces for Jace when Selena left many years ago. It was short, it was cute, it was romantic, and I think that's all you can say about a 100-page novella. After that, I read All He Wants for Christmas by Katie Wilde. This is the second Katie Wilde book I've read in 2 weeks. Totally did not mean to do that. It is a 2017 release that I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. This one is on Kindle Unlimited, and it is the story of Detective Cole Matthew, who is a very dedicated police officer who strives to do his very best until the day he is shot and saved by a bystander. He dreams about this bystander because she was beautiful and she looked after him and until an ambulance arrived, but he doesn't know who she is until she moves across the hall from him and he finds out that she's the daughter of one of the town's richest men. Mia has decided that she doesn't want to live the high life, and she wants to make her own way, and she wants to have a career, and she wants to do good things for the community, and so she moves out and moves into a relatively low-key apartment. And obviously Cole and Mia strike up a relationship, much to the consternation of Mia's family. I don't really know what to say about this book. It was what it was. You've got a police officer, you've got a rich heiress who's trying to make her own way. Was it believable? I don't know. Was it short and easy to read? Definitely. Then I read In a Holidaze by Christina Lauren. This was a 2020 release that I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This is the story of Malin, who loves the holidays, and every holiday she and her family spend it with their family friends in a cabin by the woods, and it's her favourite time of year because she gets to see all of her family friends, and she also gets to see her longtime crush. After one night of drunken merriment, she ends up making out with her crush's brother, and then things get weird. And as they leave for the end of the holidays, Malin is in a car accident, and when she wakes up, she is reliving the same holiday again. So this is a bit like a romance Groundhog Day, so a bit of a sci-fi element in here. The good thing about this book is that the Groundhog Day elements only happen a couple of times, so I think it happens maybe 4 times, and it's pretty short. It happens in the first half of the book, and then the second half of the book is May trying to sort out her feelings and her relationships with the 2 men that she has become involved with. It is a friends to lovers story. It was utterly delightful. My only gripe with this book is that there is a side character who is probably the 3rd most prominent character in the story, who is an Australian, and I loved him. His name is Benny. He's great. He plays the uncle. I just found it really frustrating because he was the only character in the story who was seen to be taking drugs or to like being high or whatever, which that's fine, that's people's business. However, Australians tend to get typecast as that a lot, and it really bothered me because it didn't actually serve any purpose in the story and no one else got involved in it. It just felt like the authors stereotyped an Australian character, as if this character couldn't fulfill the same role in the story if he wasn't the one who was constantly high. That bothered me. But that could just be my thing. I'm just putting it out there. I also read volume 2 and volume 3 of Yona of the Dawn by Mizuho Kusanagi. I am really enjoying this series. I'm not sure when I'll continue it. These are the last 3 books that I have in physical copy, but I'm definitely interested in continuing. It is a fantasy manga, I believe, and it does have some romantic elements in there between 2 of the main characters, and it's very cute. I love the artwork, and I'm loving the story, and I'm loving the changes that have happened in Yona's character. Yona was a princess whose father was killed, and she's had to go on the run, and now she is trying to find allies to help her. So I really enjoyed this. I also read Lovesong by TJ Klune. This is 2.5 in the Green Creek series. It was a short story or novella released on TJ Klune's blog, I believe, so I'll leave that link down below. And it is the first 2 books from the perspective of Elizabeth Bennet, who is the mother of one of the main characters. It does have spoilers for both of the first 2 books, and it is really Elizabeth dealing with the events that have happened and processing the events. So I can't even really talk about it because the whole thing is rife with spoilers. But it was beautiful, I loved it, and I loved having something from Elizabeth's perspective because she is a really fascinating character in the story. And then finally I read The Holiday Treatment by Elle Spencer. This was an arc that I had from NetGalley. It is a 2020 release that I gave 3 out of 5 stars. It is an LGBTQIA+ Christmas romance story featuring two women. Holly Hudson is the story editor for the Lifetime Network's Christmas movies, and she is famous for putting out a particular series of romance movies each holiday that people just love and adore. However, she is really frustrated because she's only allowed to write heterosexual Christmas stories when really what she wants to produce is a gay Christmas story that her younger self and her present day self would love to see, just to see her life represented on screen. But for all that she makes amazing Christmas movies, she actually hates the holidays. And every Christmas she escapes for the season, goes to Hawaii on her own and spends the holidays there. This year, when she goes there, she happens to cross paths with Meredith Drake, who is one of the producers for the Lifetime Network, and she's had a crush on Meredith for ages. They have a very brief, very steamy fling in Hawaii, and then when they return back, she finds out that Meredith has been promoted to the head of the Christmas division for movies, and then suddenly they can't continue their relationship for reasons. I won't go into it because that's a big part of the story. There were things about this story that I really loved. Actually, I really loved Holly's friends who live in her apartment block. They're all really close and they spend a lot of time together. So they kept butting in to Holly's relationship. And I also liked Holly's dedication to pursuing a dream that she has to produce this Christmas movie featuring a female couple. And then sort of the crux of the story hinges on the fact that she's betrayed. That bothered me a little bit towards the end because there was a lovely grand gesture like we like in romance books, like we like in romance Christmas movies, but there was definitely not enough groveling. I don't think the grand gesture made up for the betrayal. Was it fun and entertaining? Yes. Did it have the emotional depth that I probably would have wanted? Maybe not so much. Didn't make it any less enjoyable, but I just think you could have done more. So those are the books that I have read in the last 7 days. I'm really excited about my upcoming week of reading. I'm reading some books that I'm really excited about. There's also going to be a few rereads in there, I think. So stay tuned. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are staying safe and healthy. So I will see you very soon. Bye everyone.